Hey, welcome everybody to the Rockman Power Hour. My name is Jason Rockman, and we are very, very excited about a lot of really new stuff that's happening here on the Rockman Power Hour. Not only do we have Ivan Doroschuk, founding member of Men Without Hats, with us today, but we've got a brand new title sponsor that is joining the Rockman Power Hour, and we're very, very excited about having them with us. Before we get to that, though, I'd like to bring in my co-host, Ryan Stick. Ryan, what's going on? Hey,
It's going well.
What are you decked out in? What do you got on there?
I'm not selling out. I'm buying in, Jason.
You're buying in. All right. Well, listen, we're very, very happy here at Rockman Power Hour to welcome our title sponsor for the podcast, Heartbeat Hot Sauce. Now, if you don't know the Heartbeat Hot Sauce Company, they're wonderful. Now, this is what their stuff usually looks like. Okay, they have a beautiful box like this, and they'll send you out a bunch of great sauces like that.
Wow.
And and I've got a lot to tell you about Heartbeat, but that is Heartbeat Hot Sauce, a Canadian company out of Thunder Bay. Now, this is what you will get. This is what Heartbeat Hot Sauce looks like at my house. And the reason why it looks like this is because I've been using this stuff for about 2 years, and there's always empty bottles in my fridge because we plow through this stuff. So, Ryan, what I like about Heartbeat, there's a lot of things I like about Heartbeat, and look at this, dude. These things are worn in. All right, I throw this shit on everything I eat, and
that'd be hilarious if you were faking it and you were just like, Julia, quick.
No. So I'll tell you about Heartbeat. All right. Heartbeat are a company out of Thunder Bay, Ontario, started by a guy named Al and his gal. and it's a wonderful company because they make amazing hot sauce. Okay. And when you think Thunder Bay and hot sauce, it might not be something that is immediately comes together, but these guys are going to put Thunder Bay on the map when it comes to being entrepreneurs, because this stuff is wonderful, Ryan. I've been using.
Oh, I know.
Well, so you got your. Have you just been like slamming it back or what?
I've never received a big box of anything before. So it was a little overwhelming because usually I have that one hot sauce in the fridge for 6 months, and I'm just like, even if it sucks, I'm just like, it's hot sauce. Makes rice interesting. But I was really amazed with how much when you buy a box of this stuff, especially like the quality and the variety that each taste gives. And it's not that hot for the sake of hot that doesn't have a flavor.
No, not at all.
Even though there are hotter ones, and I kind of like that because I like punishing myself in a way.
It's exactly what you said. It's hot sauce that you really can enjoy. And there's so many different kinds and so many different varieties, and they're adding them as we, okay. So I've been a client of Heartbeat for about 3 years. I've been buying their sauce. Someone turned them on to me, and I just started ordering it. And what's great about their stuff is they're always adding new flavors. They're always doing interesting collaborations. Like, they're working with Dustin Poirier. Now, Dustin Poirier, I think now is the number 2 or number 3 ranked UFC fighter in the world. Okay. In his weight class, and Dustin Poirier's hot sauce is with Heartbeat. So I think that's really, really rad. It's really, really good. He's got 2 of them now.
I like his one a lot, actually. That's the really hot one.
Yeah, it's great. And then they have something like this one, the dill pickle serrano, which this went so quick in our house, I don't even have the empty bottle anymore. I was like, where's the dill pickle sauce? But what's good about their sauces is that you can use them on everything. And I even started, when I started scrambling eggs, I started just throwing a bit in the scrambled egg mixture and just scramble it and then fry up the eggs, and it just gave it a little something. So I'm excited about Heartbeat Hot Sauce being with us. I think they're a perfect fit for what we're doing, Ryan. It's a product that I believe in, and I know now that you've tried it, you believe in it. So we just want to welcome them to the podcast, and we wanted to give them a nice warm welcome. Go check them out. They're at Heartbeat Hot Sauce. The website is heartbeathotsauce.com, and they're on Instagram. Great company out of Thunder Bay, so we're really, really excited to bring them on board as our title sponsor of the Rockman Power Hour. So welcome. Now, Ivan Doroschuk. This is a guy who did something that maybe a handful of people on the planet have been able to do, and that's write a song that everyone in the world knows. Do you know anyone else that's done that, Ryan? I mean, I know the Beatles have done it, okay? But I'm talking about a song that has spanned the globe. If you start singing Safety Dance anywhere in the world, people will know it. And that is an unthinkable task.
Yeah, what's funny though is that nobody knows that it's called Safety Dance.
Right.
They always
Yeah.
think they always call it "You Can Dance If You Want to."
So Ryan, I'm a big Men Without Hats fan.
Oh yeah.
I've been a Hats fan for ever since I've been a kid, ever since I heard Safety Dance. But the album that really, really got me and held me as a fan was Pop Goes the World. Pop Goes the World's one of my Desert Island Discs, one of my favorite albums of all time. There's stuff that's going on that record that I had never heard before. When I heard that album, and to this day, there's some original stuff on there that just blows me away. There's music and songs that speak to me on an emotional level. That record was there for me when I was going through a really, really hard time as a teenager. So I love Men Without Hats, and I guess it's been about 10 years or 11 years that they've made a comeback. They put out their first album back then, and now they've got another album. And Ivan has blown me away with how incredibly talented he is and how relevant he stayed. Because this guy, a lot of people write him off as a 1-2 hit wonder, for Pop Goes the World and for Safety Dance, but there's so much more to this guy. If you get deeper into the records, they're really great songs. And the new album, Ryan, is so good. I hadn't heard it when I talked to Ivan. I hadn't gotten it yet, and I just got it yesterday. And it is so good. This record is so, so good, from front to back. A lot of bands will put out new albums from the 80s that they don't even sound the same. Their voices aren't the same. It's not the same band. And it just doesn't, you're like, what are you doing? And that's normal. Like on a musical journey, you're going to change. If you've been doing music for 40 years, it's very, very possible that you're going to change the direction you go in. You're going to change the style. You might be, you might be trying to keep up with musical trends, but Men Without Hats never did that because they're in their own lane. And this record is, I tell you, it stands up with anything that they put out in the 80s. Anything.
I think it's amazing that Ivan is still like writing music at this quality, and especially if a longtime fan like you, are not kind of like rolling their eyes through half the record, being like, "I hope they play the hits at the concert, though. This is nice, Ivan." It's really cool to see that if Ivan showed up and played these new songs, you wouldn't take a bathroom break.
And no, you hit the nail on the head with that, because there's another band from the 80s that just put out a record. And I was really excited for this record. And when I heard it and when I put it on, I could not believe this was the same band. And I don't want to throw them under the bus, but it was Tears for Fears. I'm sorry. I love Tears for Fears, and I'm a lifelong Tears for Fears fan. Julia and I drove to Windsor to go see them live. Because I'd never seen them. It was the closest place they were playing. And man, I put on the new album, The Tipping Point, just was very disappointing. So I kind of felt when I got the new Men Without Hats record, I hope this is really good, because his last album was great, but it had been, over 10 years. So how is this going to be? And man, again, part 2 is phenomenal. He put out part 1 last year, and it was covers, and there was one new song on it. So I was like, all right, it's 14 new songs on this record, 14 songs. The track listing, the pacing of it is brilliant. It starts off and it ends. It's like a circle. A lot of people that have heard it are telling me that this is like a companion piece to Pop Goes the World, and Pop Goes the World to me is one of the most important records in my musical journey. So yeah, he's accomplished a lot with this, and his brother Colin is back in the fold. Colin was in the band before. He had left, and Colin started playing live shows with them again, maybe I guess 6-7 years ago. And now he's involved. He was involved with this new record, and man, you can feel it. You can feel that there's that presence, that it just feels right. And I'm gushing a bit because I love Ivan, and I love Men Without Hats. So I'm excited that we're getting to spend a bit of time with him today. So without any further ado, here's our conversation with Ivan Doroschuk from the band Men Without Hats. All right. Really, really happy to have on the Rock and Power Hour with me a gentleman whose career I've been following for quite a while. And he's the lead singer and founding member of Men Without Hats. And they have a new album coming out in March. Ivan, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. This has been the last couple of years have been, might I say, prolific for you? Because I mean, the output's been pretty good.
Yeah, we put out the again part one, the EP of cover songs in September, and as a sort of a warm up, opening act for the new record coming out. 12 new songs. So yeah, we've been working. We recorded about over 20 songs when we were in the studio. So we got part 3 and 4 in the wings.
3 and 4. So 3 and 4 are ready already.
Well, I'm just joking, but we have a lot of songs. There will definitely be a sort of an extended package, a part 3 extended package with some stuff that didn't make it onto the official records.
Ever since you guys have started, there always seems to be, when there's releases, except for a couple, but there's a trend where there's a lot of parts, like part 1, part 2. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know, just like just what's going on in my head at that point.
Sometimes it's good to compartmentalize it and just like, I'm going to put that's part 1. That's part 2.
Yeah.
The new record is coming out March 11th. It's called Again Part 2. And the song that I've been able to hear, If the World Should End Today. There's some lyrics in there that I was thinking about it before we jumped on today. And I'm like, I could easily jump into that song, listen to it and say, it must be a love song for the first time he saw someone he fell in love with. But then I'm thinking to myself, it could be a song about addiction. You know, the first time that I did a drug that just took my breath away. And so I don't know, are you somebody that likes to talk about the lyrics and the meanings, or are you like someone,
yeah.
You do? So tell me a bit about that song. What avenue was I going down where I was right? Was it more the love thing, or?
Well, yeah, well, it's open to interpretation. You know, I sometimes see it as the first time that I saw my son coming out of his mother's body. You know,
right.
It's like it can be all kinds of things. It can be, you know, it's the title is really timely, but I wrote the song quite a while ago, so it was intended as a love song. It was a song about seeing the most beautiful woman in the world for the first time. So but like I say, I love to play around with my lyrics. I love to write lyrics that have multiple interpretations, or just change 2 words around and the whole thing takes on a different meaning. I've always kind of played around with my lyrics like that too. So it's part of that.
The covers EP that preceded this, you know, it's funny because I work at Showman Montreal, and as you know, we're big supporters of Canadian music, and the Tragically Hip. I mean, we have played the Tragically Hip so much. And when I saw you were covering Blow It High Do, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, you know, because I kind of like, as much as I respect I have for the Tragically Hip, it's like, it's been
you and every other Tragically Hip fan.
no, but it's not that. It's not necessarily the interpretation. It's just that I've kind of like, I'm done with the hip. Like I've played, the hip's the hip and they're amazing. Don't get me wrong. But like when you've heard it as much as I have, it's like, okay. But then, you know, you had a way of doing it that it was fresh. What was your approach to putting that together?
Well, that was the first song. Like that was the first song I ever heard from them. And I went to see their open, you know, their first tour.
Yeah.
At the Spectrum in Montreal, I think it was, but it wasn't called this. It was something else before the Spectrum. I think it was, I forget, Club Montreal or something like that.
Okay.
And and I went to see them. I heard the song on Shom.
Yeah.
I heard it was their first single. Canadian band. Wow, it's a cool song. And I went to see them, went backstage and got to meet the guys, you know. And yeah, it's just, for me, that's it. It's, you know, for me, I love the hip.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, they're national treasures, but
I love Gord too. You know, Gord is such a great person, and it was just our take on it. You know, the whole album started as a covers, as a piano voice kind of project that was just going to sort of versions of my catalog and covers that I liked, but sort of a real intimate kind of piano bar type of thing. And the hip was one of those songs. It was just me and piano and doing a kind of a slow ballady version, and it worked, And then I sort of said to show our guitarist, I said, I'd really like to hear this like done up like Hats version, like a total Hats version of this.
Yeah.
And that was the first song that we redid. We took it and we just did a full version of it. And I said, oh yeah, we have to. I think this is the route we want to go down. And when we eventually redid all the songs, including the cover of Safety Dance that we had done, the No Friends of Mine.
Yeah.
And that was on the part one. So for me, it was just my tribute to Canada, to the hip, to Gordon, to their message, to his message. It's just something we had a lot of fun doing it, and it's like I say, it's probably my favorite hip song. It's the first one I ever heard, and it still works for me.
Oh yeah, I know. And the thing is, when I saw it on the track list, I was like, oh man, okay. And then I heard it, and I was like, all right, because for me, it's like, all right, Tragically Hip. I mean, it's kind of, I guess in Canada, like, it's a bit holy grail. Like, it's kind of like,
yeah. I visited a few sites, a few hip sites. And,
was there some hate?
There was some hate.
I imagine.
To put it mildly, there was some hate.
Hey, listen, I know, I know what it's like to cover stuff and have people piss all over it. It's, but at the end of the day, I think you were doing it for the right reason. You just wanted to pay tribute, right?
Yeah, we had to get their permission to do it anyway, so that they've heard it and they okayed it. So
did you get you got some thumbs up from the rest of the guys?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things, they don't let their thing. They control their catalog to a point that they, it has to go through them. It has to definitely go through them. So. Yeah, we sent it off, and quick answer, yep, go for it.
Good. Well, that obviously it speaks volumes to the respect that you command, so that's a good thing. I know you have very diverse music tastes. I've seen you in Public Enemy t-shirts. I know you like a lot of music. You're a real music guy. Is there anything that you want to cover in the future that you didn't get a chance to, that you've said to yourself, like, oh man, like after doing this exercise, it makes me say I'd like to do this. I'd like to do this.
Tubular Bells.
Oh, really?
I'm working on it now. We're working on a cover of Tubular Bells.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's a haunting piece of music, man. And it's funny how that music, some people know it for just the piece of music, and then some people with Exorcist, I mean, it's just like,
I skipped school. When that record came out.
Yeah.
My friends and I, we skipped school. When we took the bus to Phantasmagoria in Montreal.
Oh yeah.
And to buy it on the release day, just lining up at the cash register with it.
Do you remember seeing Exorcist for the first time?
Yeah, I do. And I was kind of like, it wasn't, I was kind of pissed off that they had used that people were going to know the music for the Exorcist. And like, hey man, this song is longer than like 2 minutes,
That's it. But that's the crazy thing, is that now with pop culture, and especially with the internet being this gigantic wormhole that you can dive down, depending on how it's presented to you, you will know it from this. Some people will know it from TikTok, maybe someone, so it's very, very interesting how music plays a part in pop culture now, and how it can attach itself to different things. And if you know it, like, and I'm sure because songs like Safety Dance have been attached to so many things in pop culture. It's an exercise that I'm sure you're very familiar with.
Oh yeah.
So Tubular Bells. Okay, so we should expect that on part 2 or 3.
I don't know. We're working on it. Like I was going through it, and show was like our guitar player show was like, oh yeah, we have to do this one. Next album, we have to do this. So we're giving it a shot.
You've been back with your brother for. It's been what, 6 years now, maybe a little bit more. When he came back to the fold, did it just feel like a natural piece of the puzzle was back?
Yeah, it was time. We'd done our work apart, and we had a great time. We complement each other really well. In studio, he hears a lot of things. He's he's still my voice teacher now. He was really like instrumental in getting the vocal tracks down for the record and everything like that. But there's also a lot more guitar on this record. He plays a lot of guitar on the album. So there's a lot more. There's a lot more guitar. So yeah, it was great. One of his songs is on the record, and that's kind of turning into a tradition for me to do one of his numbers. But yeah, no, it's been good. And like I say, we complement each other really well, in the production, and Show co-produced the record with us, and it was great. We had a lot of fun. It was one of those records where there's not too much pressure and just a lot of fun.
Right.
The way music should be made.
And it's the first new album. I remember when the first new album came out 10 years ago, and that was a big deal. You and I chatted, you came into the station, and it's crazy how time flies, and it's been 10 years already since that record came out. You've been touring a lot. You've been playing a lot of, you've been playing all over. And like I said, like, the last 10 years for the Hats have been prolific and active. Is it something that you're intending to do with this album cycle as well? Like you guys are going to go out and you're going to play now that everything's opening up? And
yeah, we've got the tour's booked. We start in the UK in May.
Okay.
And this year is the 40th, this year and next year, because of the release date in Canada and the US. These are the 40th anniversaries of Rhythm of Youth, of the Safety Dance record.
Wow.
So we're going to be playing the whole album. We're going to be doing like 2 sets in the show, and playing the full album, the full Rhythm of Youth album from start to finish. And we've got the UK, 2 weeks in England, then Europe, the States, and Canada in the fall.
Okay, nice.
That's what we've got on the schedule. But things change daily, and
absolutely. No, I mean, it's funny because I've been talking to people over the last 2 years, and we've been doing a lot of stuff on Zoom. Very rarely is stuff in person, but it's a subject that I've covered so much with people that it's something I don't even want to bring up anymore, because I think collectively the world's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, this is coming to the end. It's just, we all have to cross our dot our I's and cross our T's, and sign off on the final paperwork. And I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, that's a good time too. It's going to start getting warmer, and
well, yeah. I mean,
I think it's going to be a good summer.
The last time I saw you play was at the Greek in LA, and it was on one of these 80s revival shows. These are a lot of fun for fans, and I've noticed you've been a part of a lot of them.
Yeah.
I imagine when you're going out with bands like this, it's got to be a bit like a bit of a high school reunion, especially when you've done some tours with some of these bands already. It's got to end up being a bit like summer camp.
It is. I mean, like I almost feel like I'm a part of a flock of seagulls now,
right. Yeah.
I feel like a member of and it's great. Like, Gordon Depp is from the Spoons, plays guitar with them now. So it's like a big family. We've been doing tours with them for like 10 years now. Like, it's like Wang Chung. And these tours go everywhere too. I mean, there's cruises. We did shows in Dominican Republic. I mean, they just go. They're all over the place, these guys. So it's cool. It's really a lot of fun.
Are there any friendships that you might have struck up with some of the guys in those bands that you didn't think would have happened? Like
Mike Score from Flock of Seagulls. There's one.
Yeah.
Way back when, you think, oh boy, there's a guy I'm gonna be hanging out with in 40 years. And no, it's great. It's like I say, it's a big family, and everybody, and like the competition is gone. Everybody's out there. If the guys are out there, they're out there to have fun. Let me tell you, they're not out there because they have to. So it's a whole different ball game. It's a lot of fun.
Well, that's a common theme that I tend to get from or hear from artists that have had success, taken a bit of a break, and come back to not like, I don't want to say a second win, but come back to a second career later on in life. There's more of an appreciation. I imagine it comes with maturity, where you just appreciate things a little bit more, and the grind isn't there like it was the first time around, where it's everything's, when you're first going out as a musician, it's tunnel vision. You're just thinking about what's happening, the next show, the next achievement. You're not soaking anything in, but I imagine now you're able to actually enjoy it a bit.
Oh yeah, no, the first time around it was like being on a hockey team. There was like, seriously, there's only so many like top 10. There's only so many places on the top 10. You're fighting for chart positions. You're fighting for clubs. You're fighting for venues. You're fighting for opening act spots. You're fighting for you're fighting for attention in the newspaper and in the media, for the MTV guys to come out and see your show instead of somebody else's.
Yeah.
It was a lot of competition, a lot of pressure, a lot of like, and like you say, like now there's no pressure. It's fun. We've all done our job, and it's, if we're pushing something new, it's like, it's not getting in the way of whatever they're pushing new too, so it's like, it's not like it used to be.
Right. As you know, I mean, I'm a big Hats fan, big supporter. The record that's really important to me is Pop Goes the World. I'm still wondering why that album has not been reissued on vinyl. And can you see that happening in the future?
I can. Yeah. It's all companies buying other companies, and warehouses burning down and stuff like that. It's all tied in with that. But well, if you like Pop Goes the World, Jay, you're going to like the new one, because with the people I've played it for, that's the album that they most sort of tie it to.
Kind of the vibe I got when I listened to If the World Should End Today. It kind of gave me that same kind of feeling. And I just say it in passing, but that record is very, very important to me, because at the time of my life, I think I was 15 years old, and I was very lost, very, very lost. And I just remember some of those lines from some of those songs, like O Sole Mio, mother, mother, can't you see something's wrong inside of me? I mean, man, like, you're talking about a little kid who's losing himself in drugs and alcohol and has no direction. So that's why I really, you've been somebody whose lyrics, and I think this happens when you're a fan of music, sometimes lyrics will grab you. You attach to them, and then all of a sudden you have this relationship with the lyricist, and that it goes throughout their career. You understand what I'm saying, right? Because I'm sure you've had that.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, it's like, we must protect Pop Goes the World. That album must get its respect. It must get its playthrough from start to finish, because it's it really, really is an incredible album. And I know you get pigeonholed as, you're the safety dance guy. And I have this argument with people all the time. There's a lot more to Ivan than just that song. Listen to Pop Goes the World. And most people, when they do listen to that record from start to finish, they get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Rolling Stone voted us #1 2-hit wonder. So
yeah. But so you're telling me that so again, part 2 has a lot of those shades.
Yeah, it's a lot. Whereas the last record, there was, it was kind of techno in scope, and this one is a lot more organic, has a lot more of that big sort of feeling that Pop Goes the World had. The more orchestral stuff and everything, and it's got the little interludes and everything like that Pop Goes the World had, and a lot more stuff going on.
Oh, I'm dying to hear it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, because the one thing that a lot of people attach themselves to when it comes to Men Without Hats is nostalgia. But I really do believe, like you said, like with the last album, and then with the promise of this one, this band has always been kind of moving forward since you've relaunched. For you though, you're comfortable with the fact that there are some people that come to hear the 2 songs. That, right?
Absolutely. That's why we actually play Safety Dance first in the set, and we play it again at the end. We play the 45 version, the single version at the beginning of the show, and then the 12-inch version at the end. Like Wang Chung gave me that idea. We were on tour with them, and the first night they come out and they played Everybody Wang Chung Tonight was their opening song, and it was like, wow, like what a concept. You're playing the song that everybody's waiting for, and you give it to them right after the bat, and they lit the fuse. The crowd was on fire for the rest of the show. Like they could have played it like samba music, and the crowd would have gone crazy. Like it really worked. So we nabbed that trick off them, and so that's it. We open up with Safety Dance. I fully totally, whereas back in the days, I couldn't understand why people wanted to hear Safety Dance. I was like, you guys are nuts. Like, I got like a million more songs are way better than that. Like, let's go. Like, I got songs I haven't recorded yet. They're like, listen to this,
Yeah.
And people are screaming Living in China, and I'm almost jumping into the crowd to pummel the guy, So it's like, it's a different, you grow up, it's maturity. Like you say, it's getting older.
That's it. And the appreciation, for what people appreciate, and not really caring anymore what, but I know what you mean. It's like, I'm sure there were times when you played where you didn't play Safety Dance on purpose, right?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure I played Safety Dance every show that I've ever done in my life. Don't get me wrong, it's something that I look forward to also, because it brings so much joy to people that I feel like I've probably said this to you before, but I feel like it's a traveling museum, and I'm a curator presenting some artifact, that people just totally get off on. It's so much larger than me. The people know the song. They know the song. They don't even know the title. Half the world doesn't even know what the song is called, let alone know that I wrote it. So it's such an amazing thing, to hear, to have that. I mean, it's like, I don't mind being a one-hit wonder, two-hit wonder. It's always better than a no-hit wonder. So I'll take it.
And you don't, I've seen you play so many times. There's no of you going through the motions. I mean, you are out there, you're happy, and you're convincingly playing it. You don't look like you're just dialing it in for a check. So I can attest to that. I just want to ask you about Wang Chung really quickly, because Wang Chung, obviously are known for their big hits, but also they were incredible at scoring films. One of my favorite soundtracks, To Live and Die in LA. Yeah. I mean, great film and great soundtrack. Have you ever thought of going down that road and scoring stuff?
I did. I tried a bit. It was fun. It was something, but it's not something that I was drawn to, more than that. So
like Tangerine Dream and stuff. Like, it's not something you could see yourself.
Not at this point anyway. Not at this point, maybe. Yeah.
Do you think is it because you'd have an issue with the director coming in and saying that this doesn't work, and you'd be like, fuck it and leave?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be too picky or something to have to see the movie and think about it for a while to give my answer. I don't know.
I had Ian Anderson on the podcast about a month and a half ago, and of course I had to bring up on Tuesday. I got his story on how that came together. Can you tell me your story on how that came together?
Well, we got besides the fact that I was lifelong Jethro Tull fan, we had a common friend. It was Derek Schulman, the lead singer for Gentle Giant.
Okay.
And he was the guy who signed me, who signed the Pop Goes the World album to Polygram in the States. He was vice president A&R. Derek Schulman was. And back in the days, back in the 60s and 70s, Gentle Giant used to open up for Jethro Tull. And so they knew each other. And it was Derek's idea. Derek just said, hey, I think this, given the whole like Safety Dance video, medieval kind of vibe, I think, why don't we try to keep it going with Ian Anderson? And I thought, like I say, I'm a lifelong Jethro Tull fan. So it was great. We were doing the record at, I think we were at Eden Studios in England, in London. He came in for the day and did it, and he was total pro, total awesome dude, awesome musician. Like, really, you're always sweating a bit when you got this legend coming in. You don't want to be telling him what to do. Like, oh no, sorry, that's could you play that a little slower or whatever?
Yeah.
That's not exactly the right note there.
Yeah.
And especially if you listen to on Tuesday, there's a lot of different, little subtle intricacies in the flute line. Mm-hmm. And he knew everyone. He'd obviously done his homework well, and he was prepared, and it was awesome. It was totally great.
Well, you can hear it in the performance on the recording that, there was a lot of thought that was put into that. He didn't just didn't do a few notes and then, it doesn't sound like something that was copy and pasted together. It sounds like that was, it sounds like there, and you can hear his breath in there. You can hear a lot of stuff.
Yeah. There was no copy and paste in those days.
That's it. That's what I mean.
It's all organic. It's all live. Every single note that's on that song is different than the one preceding and the one after. So.
Yeah, it's like watching these new metal drummers trying to emulate what Michel does from Voivod, and they're like, "Well, I'll just fix it in the mix." No, Michel never fixed anything in the mix. He just played the song.
I was just talking to Michel. Their new record's doing really well too.
Oh yeah. Yes. Well, he was our guest last week or 2 weeks ago. And I mean, just, and I know you're a big supporter of Voivod and a big fan of Voivod. I do have to ask you, you were kind enough, it's about a year and a half ago, to accept an invitation to do a cover song that we were doing called Kings of, we had this little project called the Kings of Quarantine. And it was put together to help raise money for out of work roadies, because at the beginning of this pandemic, I mean, everyone is out on their ass with no work, musicians and road crew. But the road crew were the ones that really lost the revenue stream across the board. Some musicians would have, maybe royalties coming in to be able to sell some merch. Maybe they had a bit of a cushion, but roadies, a lot of them work, living paycheck to paycheck, having your whole industry pulled out from under you. It wasn't a pretty sight. So we put together the Kings of Quarantine, and you accepted. And man, I mean, this thing was a beast of a project. And the reaction from people was like, I never thought I would see Men Without Hats and Brutal Truth on the same song. Like just all of that. Did you have a good time? Did you have a good time doing that?
Oh, I had a great time. And I got so much love for that. It just my mailbox is still getting comments from that. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Nobody was expecting it. And it worked out really well. You guys did an awesome job. Hats off.
Yeah. And it was, no pun intended. and what was great about it is that, the reaction that we got from Faith No More was genuine. I mean, every member of that band reached out in one way or another. And to the point where, Billy Gould and Mike Borden from Faith No More played on the second to the last one that we did. So thank you for doing that. And I'm glad you were a part of that, because to me, it was putting that thing together was one of the coolest things I've ever done. And it's one of these things where I kind of took it in stride and I let it go, but having you a part of that, and then having all these other people being a part of it that have been along, my musical journey, and then other people's musical journeys, and just seeing all these people slam together and create something really cool like that was fun. So I'm glad you were a part of it.
Well, thanks again. Thanks again for asking me.
Yeah, well, come on, man. It was a pleasure. So March 11th, new album comes out. We're going to be getting some tour dates. You're going to be hitting Canada in the fall. Is there anything else people should know?
That's about it. But, you can still dance if you want to. Let's see. I can't wait to get out there, actually. I just, it's been a while. We did a couple of shows last year. We did some shows in the States and shows in Canada, but they were outdoors. They were like sort of all outdoors. So this is going to be the first. We have some O2 club shows in England and London and a few other places for a couple of weeks. So that'll be our first venture back into a club circuit, like the indoor venues. So it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun. It's been a while.
I appreciate you taking the time as always, and continued success. Be safe out there, and look forward to seeing you on the road soon.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. See you soon.
Man, I got to hear not only this new album, but I also have to hear Pop Goes the World, because the way you were talking about it, and it's just really what I loved about what Ivan said is just like someone, or as he jokes, two-hit wonders. People think, all they want to do is hear this song that he finds not silly, but he's like, we have such better songs. Please listen to other songs. And it reminds me of the days when Red Hot Chili Peppers would release Under the Bridge, but nobody would be aware of the funk masterpiece that Blood, Sex, Sugar, Magic was. And it really makes me think, well, why the fuck have I not looked into Men Without Hats more, given the fact that I'm usually the guy saying, oh yeah, Pretty Fly for a White Guy is the worst song on Americana. I know better. Jason, I know better. There is a plethora of 80s artists that I assume have one song. I'm a fucking hypocrite, but I'm more aware that 90s punk bands, their worst song is usually the one you know.
Well, that's the thing, like you're saying, they're a band that was very easy to fall into the they're just that, but they're not. There's so much more than that. And I've always been somebody that ever since I'm a kid, when I get into a band, a song will drive me in. When I get into a band, a song will drag me in, but I'll stay and I'll do the record. Like I'll start from the beginning and I'll finish with the end. And once I'm a fan for life. And I'll always give the band a chance. But at one point, sometimes you're like, all right, the band's kind of fallen off for me. There's nothing new there, but I'll live with the memories, not with Men Without Hats. I can tell you that without any hesitation that the new record's phenomenal. Again, part 2, it's out everywhere now. And go see them go see them live because they're great live. And Ivan's voice, we talked about it a little bit in the interview, but I want to say this to you, Ryan. Ivan's voice is as good as it was before, if not better. His voice just gets fucking better. And I don't understand, because I'm a singer, my voice sucks compared to the way it used to be. I'm older. I just can't do what I used to do. This guy is.
I didn't mean to be as in I'm agreeing with. I'm not.
It's
but
okay.
I was just like, I was a conversational grunt to be like, good point.
You suck.
Wait a second. Did I just agree to his detriment?
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah. No, but the thing is, he works at it. He has a vocal coach. His brother works with him on his vocals. He helps him. He warms up. He does, he takes care of his instrument. So, anyways, I could talk about Ivan all day, but we had a great conversation with him. Go check out the new album, and go watch their website for tour dates, because there are tour dates coming, and it was an absolute pleasure to welcome him. And I also want to thank our brand new title sponsor, Heartbeat Hot Sauce. You can check them out online at www.heartbeatheartsauce.com. They make great hot sauce. There's a ton of varieties, and it really, really works on anything that you eat. It's great, and it's not overbearing. So check them out. That is their logo. They are small batch fermenters, as you see here. Heartbeat Hot Sauce. This is the red habanero, which is great. And they are from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Some great Canadian people doing some great stuff with hot sauce. Your bottle will be like this when you get it, and then it will look like this eventually. This is how it should look, all messed up and gummy, and you've been using it all day. But Heartbeat Hot Sauce, thanks for having them on as our title sponsor. We really, really appreciate that. And without any further ado, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you being around. As always, you're the best. I want to thank our producer, Julia Kajerski. Thanks to Heartbeat Hot Sauce, and thanks to Ivan Doroschuk and Men Without Hats. And we will see you next week on the Rockman Power Hour.